preciso enfeitiçá-la e atraí-la para um local afastado das outras pessoas. Seu nível de enfeitiçar deve ser igual ao ou superior à resistência do cidadão. Aperte L1 para enfeitiçar Clay. Porra, eu tenho que matar ele de todo jeito, meu Deus do céu. É bom demais, vem embora pra morrer. Porra, vou matar um merda, meu irmão. Não, ali tá aberto. Aqui também tá aberto. Porra, não tem lugar aqui. Tentação do sangue. Aperte X para abraçar Clay Cox ou para libertá-lo. Abraçar Clay lhe considerará um grande bônus de XP, mas esteja ciente de que haverá consequências. Aprender mais pistas sobre os cidadãos e coletar as pistas deles aumenta o ganho de experiência. Lógico que eu vou soltar ele, pô. X. Dispense. Eu vou te soltar.
No more. Not tonight. Not like this.
Eita, piedade. Ganhei um troféu. Ganhei um troféu. Vem embora, porra. Cara, tu não tava querendo ir pro hospital.
Não, eu quero morrer aí mesmo.
Whoa, I feel giddy.
Então te lasca aí, meu irmão.
What happened?
Oxe, eu tô tentando te salvar. Eu não quis te...
It is wise for the huntsman to sometimes let his prey go. But no famished hunter can run for long.
Porra, meu boneco ficou presença demais, meu irmão. Com essa roupa, do jeito que pai... Não é do jeito que pai gosta, pô. E eu tô já milionário já. Eu peguei coisa aqui só. Vamos lá. Não matei o cara, tá suave. Cheguei no hospital. Vamos dar uma volta. Eu sou um cara que eu gosto, né? De arrodear. Eu sou um cara que gosta de primeiro arrodear para depois fazer as missões. Junte-se às forças. Tá, isso aqui eu já tinha visto faz tempo. Não tem nada aqui. Opa, lute. Cara, eu vou... Tá fechado. Opa, lute. Vou pro hospital primeiro. Bora pro hospital. O objetivo principal. Esse jogo não é feito Bloodborne. Ele tem uma história que dá pra você entender o jogo. Bloodborne é só luta, só porradaria, do jeito que a gente gosta. E não entende quase porra nenhuma, a não ser que uma pessoa pesquise a vera o game, né? Vamos lá, previna doenças. Cuspes, tosse e espirros em público propagam a gripe. Ela se espalha pelas gotas de saliva e coriza. Evite tossir em público. Com certeza dá troféu você olhar esses cartazes, porcaria. Ó. Eita, muita gente vai morder de sangue. Chega, eu tô salivando. Oh yes. Calma, moleque. Mas menina, eu tô luteando. Primeiro lute. Foi daqui que vocês foram, não foi? Foda-se teus pacientes, minha irmã. Eu sou protagonista, me respeita. Não tem mais nada aqui, bora embora. Essa parte aqui vai ser a parte mais chata pelo que eu tô vendo. Só vai ser conversa.
I've little time to play hide and seek with new staff members, no matter how illustrious they may be.
I found a wounded man by the docks. He answers to the name of Clay Cox. He requires urgent medical attention.
Already making the rounds? That's the Pembroke spirit. I'll ask our porter
Eu não, eu
Milton to
quase que
bring him back
matava ele.
immediately.
Thank you, nurse. What can I do for you?
Dr. Swansea insisted we provide you a quiet office. You'll find it on the second floor with your name on the door.
Thank you. Nurse Crane, isn't it?
Yes, Dorothy Crane. Welcome to Pembroke Hospital, Dr. Reed. Your office has been prepared.
Tenho algumas perguntas. Deixa eu ver isso aqui primeiro. Opa. Dorothy Crane. Olha, 2000. Ela é essencial. Quando tem isso tudinho, ela é essencial. Quando eu acho as pistas todas dela, eu dou a mordida gostosa. Ah, ela é opilada aqui. Eu sabia que era mulher. Matar a chefona não vai dar certo. Aí, ó. Estado de saúde grave. Oxe, tá morrendo, né? Saneando, saudável está. Oxe. Então é muito trabalho, né? Então eu vou te matar. O povo vai pensar que foi a fadiga, né? Bom demais.
I would like to ask a few questions first.
É muito forte aí, meu.
What kind of man is Dr. Swansea?
Well, you
Eu tenho
accepted
que ter
the
o mesmo
job from
poder
him. I thought you would have known about your
de
employer.
hipnose que o sangue dela tem, pelo que eu entendi.
Apologies, I've only just met him the once. This is sudden. I've only just returned to England.
Dr. Swansea is a brilliant surgeon and the most compassionate physician.
Oxe, tem vergonha, mano.
It's right to assume Dr. Swansea knows far more about me than I do about him.
You'll get to know him soon enough, and better than me. The administrator has better things to do than mix with us.
Porra, mulher chata, não me disse nada, meu irmão.
And Mr. Hampton, the patient we brought in. How does he fare?
I gave him a sedative to help him sleep. Poor thing was in quite a state of shock.
If you could point me in the direction of my room again, nurse.
Second floor of the hospital, left after the stairs. It's the last vacant office at the end of the corridor.
Puta que pariu, não vou achar nunca. Repete pra mim aí.
If you could point me in the direction of my room again, nurse.
Second floor of the hospital,
Segundo andar do
left after the
hospital,
stairs. It's
esquerda,
the last
depois da
vacant office at the end
escada,
of the
o último
corridor.
escritório vazio no final do corredor. Porra, já
Thank you,
esqueci.
Nurse Crane.
Vamos lá, entrei. Vou falar com... Esse tem cara de luta. Vamos lá, tem um negão aqui. É raro um jogo desse aqui eu ver um negão. Vem cá. Tu onde que vai estar vivo, isso?
I'm Dr. Jonathan Reed. I'm new here.
I've already heard about you, Dr. Reed. I'm Milton Hooks, the ambulance driver for this shithole of a hospital.
That's quite a blunt introduction, Mr. Hooks.
You can call me Milton. I like to speak my mind, Dr. Reed. Perk of the job. Don't judge me, and I won't judge you.
I'm not sure I understand what you're talking about.
Well, I'm no doctor, but I'm pretty sure a gun can't be used as a surgical instrument.
You have a keen eye. I learned to shoot during the war, and have carried one ever since. Old habits die hard.
No need to explain, Dr. Reed. And if you ever need a better gun, remember, I may have something for you.
Ih, o cara veio contrabandista. Calma, cebosa. Botaram logo um negão, meu irmão, pra ser contrabandista. Vê que fuleiragem, velho. Tô me sentindo ofendido, velho.
Are you really smuggling weapons through the hospital?
And why not? I've already been attacked by patients, you know. And by gang members willing to steal my money.
But you're not defending yourself. You're selling guns to civilians.
You keep people alive your own way, Doctor. I offer them another way to protect their health.
É, boa resposta.
How is the situation around here?
You want to hear the situation is all right? It's fucking awful. We lack
Eu
everything.
tô vendo que eu vou ser
And it's getting
obrigado,
worse
pô,
every day.
a jogar essa parte do jogo, né? só na conversa. Porque ele vai conhecer a galera. Eita, vai ser uma burocracia da porra.
So what do you do exactly in this hospital? Apart from smuggling guns, I mean.
I've been an ambulance driver since... too long, I guess. I bring sick people here night and day. It's a dirty job, but I get it done. Most of the time.
Poxa, vai.
Since you're on the front line, how is the sanitary situation in this vicinity?
It's a complete disaster. It's even getting dangerous to enter some streets or buildings. Even the locals attack you.
It sounds like things have been a bit rough recently. What's happened?
Yesterday I got attacked by the patient I was bringing here. I escaped from the hospital's garden, but I lost my wallet when I was running.
You left an infected patient outside the hospital? That's incredibly dangerous.
Go there yourself if you want, but be careful, Doctor. I'd rather not bring your dead body back.
Meia-noite no Jardim de Bem e do Mal. Nova investigação, beleza. Isso é uma scene quest, uma secundária. Requer uma pista. Beleza.
Are you really smuggling weapons through the hospital?
And why not? I've already been attacked by patients, you know.
But you're not defend.
You keep it.
Ah, já falei, vamos ver. Nível 2, eu não sei se eu tô com nível 2 de persuasão. Mas não agora, já que ele tem um segredo por coisar. Vamos lá. Sua vida em Londres. Ah, já fiz. Perguntas pessoais. Ih! 1, 2, 3, 4. O sangue do negão é do bom, vamos
I'd like to
negociar.
see your goods.
Wise choice, Dr. Reed. A reliable gun is what everybody needs these days.
Porra, negão. Se garante. Quanto de dano, menino? Dano com a porra. 300. Só tenho 90, pô. Sou pobre, velho. Isso aqui é o quê? Componente. Componente comum. Livre-se. Leve-me para um hospital. Encontre seu escritório no segundo andar. Entre no jardim do quintal. Eu nem sei o mapa aqui. Aqui. Não. Como esse meu controle tá andando pra cima, vai ser meio complicadinho pra mim aqui. Meia-noite no jardim. Entre no jardim do quintal. Agora não. Comerciante. A missão. Tá, é aqui, ó. O jardim tá pra lá. Mas não vou agora não. Primeiro entrar aqui e fazer. Conversar com todo mundo que eu puder.
Dr. Swansea is right. This place seems perfect to conduct my research.
Bom, vamos falar com esse corno aqui.
Good evening, sir.
So it is true. The famous Dr. Reed has joined us. I can't think of any better news during these terrible times.
Do we know each other?
Actually, yes. We met once before, at the Rockefeller University in New York.
Dr. Tippett, yes, I remember. I was assisting Professor Carell in his research about coronary bypasses. He had nothing but praise for you.
He was also very confident about your future. And look at you now. Eminent surgeon and blood transfusion specialist.
Sua vida em Londres. 2, isso aqui tem segredo, viu?
What is the Pembroke Hospital situation? And please, speak freely.
This hospital is not exactly the best of London. I'm sure you are used to working in a better environment.
It's more than enough. In any case, the personnel of a hospital are much more important to me than the building.
Don't be misled by appearances, Dr. Reed. This hospital does not lack talented people. It just lacks hope.
Conte-me
What can
sobre
you
aqui.
tell me about the staff in the hospital?
Some are really good, and others are not so good. But during this troubled period,
Eu vou
there is
matar
no
só
time for
os
slander. I prefer to focus on the positive character
os cebosos aí, velho. Porque, tipo, com certeza tem
Tell me
gente que não
more
presta.
about cherished people, then.
Nurse Brannigan is a pearl. She is the most helpful and dedicated nurse I've ever worked with. A clever and cheerful woman.
You really seem to admire her skills.
I'll go even further. If she was a man, she would be a damn fine practitioner.
E jogadores também.
Any opinion about the management?
I don't always agree with Dr. Swansea's reserve, but I must admit he does all he can to keep this facility running during this crisis.
Ah, yes, the burden of command. I was fed up with this concept while serving as a medical officer.
Don't get me wrong. Swansea's a good administrator. I just wish he would get out of his office now and again.
Ai, ai. Caramba, já são 8 horas, eu nem jantei, velho. Já vi, então vambora. Requer pistas. Pergunta pessoais. Requer pista, massa.
Goodbye, Dr. Tibbets.
Tem uma doida ali, ó. Já vi logo. Precisa de enfermeiras urgente. Por misericórdia. Eles precisam de vocês. Precisa-se de enfermeiras urgente. Pergunte no escritório de recrutamento mais próximo do Ministério do Trabalho e Defesa Nacional ou escreva para 5 Kingsway, Londres. Ou é 15. Essa época, eu sei que isso é uma história fictícia, mas nessa época realmente enfermeiras eram valorizadas porque eram poucas. E tipo, enfermeira aí, nesse cartaz você tá vendo, qualquer pessoa, qualquer mulher, né? Qualquer mulher, independente. Ela na hora aprende. Porque precisava, agora não, agora tem toda uma especialização, técnico, superior, mas mesmo assim o povo, essas enfermeiras de hoje, meu Deus. Não gosto nem de falar sobre isso. Poxa, tava aqui a doida, pô. A doida já sumiu. Vou falar com a doida primeiro. Previna a doença de novo. Isso aqui já. Falar com a doida.
Good evening, miss. I'm Dr. Reed, the new surgeon at the Pembroke Hospital. And who are you?
Your name has no meaning to me, mortal. You're nothing but dust blown by the winds of eternity.
I beg your pardon?
What are you begging for, mortal? My clemency? Well, tonight maybe I'm inclined to mercy. Thelma Howcroft.
You keep calling me mortal. Why is that? And if I'm mortal, what are you?
Well, Dr. Reed, if you must know,
Sou uma vampira. Olha.
And why do you believe you're a vampire?
I don't need to believe anything.
Às vezes eu viajo
It is
no
what I am.
diálogo, tá ligado?
It is what I feel within this hollow shell of flesh.
You feel. What is it like to be a vampire?
I can hear my body crumble from the inside as my flesh cracks and fades. I sense the last pulse of postulant blood within my drying veins. I need new blood.
I see. Have you ever heard of Cotard syndrome, Miss Howcroft?
Never.
It's a mental illness discovered by a French neurologist named Jules Cotard. The
mulher
affected
doida,
patients are delusional. They believe that they are putrefying, that they are dead, a ghost or a ghoul. Or in your case, a vampire.
Delusional, you say? Oh, sad and petty mortal. You can't even begin to understand the concept of immortality. And you think it is I who am delusional.
I'm assuming you must be a patient here. Am I right, Miss Howcroft?
It's only a cover. To hide from my enemies. I can leave whenever I want. As a woman, a spirit, fog, or bat.
Seus inimigos.
Who are these enemies you mentioned? Can you describe them?
I cannot say for sure. But I sense their eyes on me from nearby. I feel them watching me every time I visit the garden near the morgue.
The staff here are not your enemy. They're here to help you, to care for you.
I'm not speaking of the doctors in white. I'm speaking of
Eu não sei se tá assistindo aí, Handsome, o Mike também. Vocês já jogaram esse jogo?
Don't worry. These people will not find you here. I'll personally make sure they leave you alone.
Thank you, mortal. But do not interfere with them, for you are no match for those that hunt me.
Uma nova investigação. Algo errado. Quem é você afinal?
Who are you really, Miss Howcroft? I mean, apart from being a vampire.
Is that not enough for you, puny mortal? What do you require? Proof of my powers?
I'm curious to know who you were before becoming a vampire.
No, such a long time ago, I don't remember. Centuries of unholy life can have strange effects on one's minds.
Vamos lá. É segundo andar. No caso, vamos entender que é o primeiro ali, né? Mas eu vou dar uma volta. Provavelmente tem gente pra caramba. Dorothy. Quem é? A doida. Isso é o médico que eu conversei. Dorothy. Isso é o... Vamos lá, vamos falar com ele.
Good evening, Doctor. I believe we're going to be working together.
Dr. Reed. Dr. Swansea informed us of your arrival, but I could not dare to believe we'd have such good fortune. Such an honor, sir.
Thank you. And you are?
I am Thoreau Strickland, Dr. Thoreau Strickland. I'm a great admirer of your work, Dr. Reed.
Bom saber. Eita porra, isso é fodão, ó. 4. Esse é difícil, esse é muito importante então pra história.
Please, could you tell me something about yourself?
I'm a great admirer of your work concerning blood transfusion, Dr. Reed. I run my own experiments. I'm convinced it's the future.
What made you choose to be a doctor?
I'm not ashamed to admit you and your work have inspired me. I am honored to have the opportunity to work by your side.
It's always a pleasure to share scientific and medical knowledge with someone eager to learn. I'll be glad to help you if I can.
This epidemic may be the century's most terrible disaster, but I'm convinced that we, as doctors, are the only ones able to defeat it.
I based my technique on my mentor's research. He helped me perfect my method. What is yours?
I'd rather not talk about it. For now, it's just theories and first approach.
Esse bicho é doido,
já tô vendo. My process is purely experimental and unsuccessful.
As long as you're cautious and methodical, you may remain empty-handed, but you won't fail.
You're not the first one to warn me, but I am convinced knowledge is the main weapon against the ravages of this epidemic.
What can you tell me about the Pembroke?
Well, it has always been an honor to work with Dr. Swansea. But with your arrival, I can't think of a better opportunity to learn about blood transfusion.
You seem quite optimistic. It's a rare and precious attitude in these difficult times.
I'm convinced that this epidemic is a test of endurance and dedication for us men of science.
Questions remain about our capacity to resolve the situation.
True, true. Last summer, during the first wave of the epidemic, I used to joke with Milton about the extra work. We're not smiling now.
Do you need help with anything in particular?
Well, yes, maybe. I'm waiting for a batch of products I ordered for my personal research, yet my supplier seems to have vanished.
Do you want me to play the errand boy for you?
Oh no, Dr. Reed. But if you went personally to his shop, what with your reputation and all, he wouldn't dare to refuse the products I need.
I see.
Esse
Give me
produto
the address,
aí.
for I may pass by if I have time.
É, o ingrediente em falta. Tem pista. Tem 3 pistas. Ah, já abriu uma.
Tell me more about your willingness to experiment with new medical techniques.
Harvey Fiddick is a patient suffering from a severe injury that could cripple him if not treated correctly. I'm convinced your blood transfusion technique could help him.
What is it you really want? To save him? Or to prove your point?
Fair question. I want nothing but to save my patient, Dr. Reed. Especially since I know Mr. Fiddick's story.
Vamos lá.
Tell me Mr. Fiddick's story.
Our first diagnosis was compromised because Mr. Fiddick lied to us about the real origin of his injury. He first claimed it was an accident.
But why would he hide such crucial information from us?
Because he is a proud father. Ashamed of putting his children at risk because of his own negligence.
Raio Fiddick. Nova pista, bom.
This personal involvement could also appear to be a lack of impartiality. You must know that a good surgeon must remain neutral.
I agree. But that does not excuse Dr. Ackroyd's behavior. A man who did not even take time to converse with his patient.
Do you think keeping his distance was a mistake?
All I know is that I'm taking care of human beings with desires,
É, já
hopes and
gostei
fears.
desse médico.
Not some biological machine comprised of blood, bones and flesh.
Pronto, acabou, não tem mais, então...
Goodbye,
Adeus.
Dr. Strickland.
I'm alright.
Olha. Opa. Volta pra torar nos frascos.
I will not let you down, my boy.
Vamos aqui. Eu me lembro que o... Ah, não, me lembro de nada não. Eu pensava que eu tive um déjà vu. E agora? Aqui. Fala com a
Good
mulher.
evening, madam. Can I help you?
It's my son who needs you, sir.
I'm Dr. Jonathan Reed. How can I help your son?
I'm Beatrice Goswick, mother of Mortimer Goswick. Could you check on him, please, Dr. Reed? I've heard much of your talents as a physician.
Então, vamos fazer isso aqui. Ah, ih, aqui é uma pista. Conte-me sobre...
What do you think of your reception here? Any complaints?
I have had the uttermost reservations about this hospital since we arrived. But we had no other choice, considering the state of emergency.
Is there something in particular that's bothering you?
Some of the staff were not especially welcoming. I suspect they're not accustomed to dealing with patients of such social standing.
Ah, abriu, ó.
Tell me more about your arrival at the Pembroke Hospital. What gave you such a bad first impression?
The ambulance driver was quite rude, for a start. And that nurse, Miss Hawkins, seems to have quite a dubious attitude.
What do you mean?
She managed to secure a bed for my son despite the epidemic. It was a relief, but it wasn't cheap.
Olha, Pipa Watkins.
She charged you for a bed?
Yes, and I paid without question, considering the urgency of the situation.
Miserável, meu irmão. Corrupção.
I share your
Já tô marcando as galera que eu vou matar.
Be sure that I'll talk to the people involved.
I don't expect compensation, Dr. Reed. But I'm aware such behavior would not be tolerated in other hospitals.
What can you tell me about yourself, Mrs. Goswick?
Not much to say. Just take care of my Mortimer and I'll cover all the expenses. That's all that matters.
Olha, você é tão rica assim.
Are you really that rich? Most of the patients here are of a more humble origin, if I may say so.
Yes, thanks to my husband. May he rest in peace. I can cover any needed medical expenses.
May I ask if you have an occupation, Mrs. Goswick?
I'm a teacher by profession. I teach young women who are more ambitious about their futures than their families.
Pronto, já fiz. Não tem mais uma pista aqui, que essa daqui abriu. Perguntas pessoais. Não abriu, então.
Goodbye, Mrs. Goswick. Good evening. I'm Dr. Reed. Can I help at all?
No.
Really? Why are you here then?
I don't want to talk. My throat hurts too much.
I suppose that this pain is the reason you're here. Is someone taking care of you?
Yes. And
You know.
Could you at least tell me your name, sir?
Mortimer. Mortimer Goswick.
How painful is your throat, Mr. Goswick?
So painful I'd rather not talk at all, Doctor.
I'm sure you realize a doctor and his patient have to communicate, sir. Would it help if I gave you some paper and a pen?
Not really.
I see. Then maybe it's not just your throat that hurts, Mr. Goswick. Perhaps your sore throat is just the consequence of something more hurtful.
Yes, maybe. But I don't want to talk or even write about it now.
Why did your mother have you hospitalized here? She seems convinced this is a bad hospital.
My mother just wants the best for me. She won't rest while I'm here. She'd go all the way to hell and back to help me.
Pembroke Hospital may look unorthodox, but rest assured you're in good hands here.
It's not me you have to convince, Dr. Reed. It's my mother.
Is your mother bothering you? As your doctor, I can ask her to leave you alone if you would prefer.
That's tempting, Doctor. But you have no idea what my mother is capable of. She would tie herself to my bed if you asked her to leave.
Pronto, só falta uma pista. Eita, peraí.
Tell me about yourself, Mr. Goswick.
I don't want to talk, Doctor.
How painful is your...
So painful.
Descansa.
I'll let you get some rest then.
Good evening, sir. Doctor.
E agora quer conversar. Foda-se.
To calm the children, Ellen.
Cara, um labirinto isso aqui. Deixa eu falar logo com esse ceboso aqui.
Good evening, sir. I'm Dr. Reed. May I help you?
I don't know if a third opinion is needed. Your colleagues are already arguing about my condition.
I see. Would you mind telling me more about your situation?
I'm Harvey Fiddick. All I want is to get me bloody arm fixed properly.
Sua vida em Londres. Perguntas pessoais.
Tell me about your injury, Harvey. Why do you feel so guilty about it?
My wife died because of me. And now I may lose everything because I've been careless enough to hurt myself. What an arsehole.
How could your job be responsible for your wife's death?
I was working a double. She went out to bring me a hot meal and got caught in a German bomb raid.
Ó, eu posso enfeitiçar ele, ó. Uhul! Shape up médico.
You can't hold yourself responsible for your injury, Mr. Fiddick, unless you tried to hurt yourself.
Of course I didn't hurt myself, but I can't work until my arm is fixed. My children need to eat, Doctor.
Is there anything else that's bothering you? Can I help in any way?
I'm all right. Considering the state of this place, I should consider myself lucky, I guess.
Tell me more about the death of your wife, Harvey.
1915. I was in the army, building workshops for the Royal Flying Corps. Helen was happy I wasn't sent to the front.
Já sabia que quando eu pegasse essa hora ia já me pedir dinheiro.
Missed their target. My wife was bringing my dinner when the bombs fell.
I'm sorry for your loss. So many died during the bombings. I served in France and witnessed the carnage there.
I would like to say that she didn't suffer. Truth is, I have no idea. I just know that I'm all that me kids have. Poor little bleeders.
How are your children after losing their mother?
They were smaller then. The only good thing about this is my Helen didn't bring them with her that night.
Is there anything else that's bothering you? Can I help in any way?
I'm all right. Considering the state of this place, I should consider myself lucky, I guess.
Are you satisfied with your treatment here?
Well, it's clear that I've chosen a bad time to be injured. Forgive my bluntness, but you seem overwhelmed by cases of the flu.
I won't lie to you about it. I'm afraid we are.
Are you sure you don't want to operate yourself, Dr. Reed? I have the feeling you're very capable, and your colleagues seem to think so too.
In other circumstances, you would be right. But for now, I don't think I can take on the responsibility. My apologies. Tell me about yourself, Mr. Fiddick.
I'm just a regular guy waiting to get his arm fixed, so I can return to work and to my family.
I was more curious about what you were doing before being hospitalized.
I'm a carpenter, and a good one too. But that means I need both arms to feed my family, Dr. Reed.
Tell me about the doctors who are arguing about your case.
Strickland and Aykroyd. They both want the best for me, but there's a lot of pride there. Doctors are no different from carpenters, it seems.
What do you mean?
I often had professional arguments with rivals on a building site. Difference is, I disagreed about wooden nails, not flesh and bones.
Praticamente, eu acho que eu tô 1 hora só aqui na conversa, né? É, não abriu não, ainda tem uma pista pra eu abrir. Ela é fraquinha. Abri uma pista pra ele. Tem 3. Falta 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pessoas. Ó, esse cara é um cara chave, ó. Foi bom não ter matado ele, tá? Esse aqui tá doente. Porra, essa mulher é 2.600 porque ela é rica, né? Só pode. Vai sair, Elta? Isso é meu, tá ligado, né? Vai, eu sei que tu tá afim de usar, usa aí, meu irmão.
Goodbye for now.
Não tem estresse não.
I'll see you later.
Pronto. Deixa eu me situar aqui, onde eu tava. Eu vim daqui. Aí eu vou andando. Vum. Quem é esse aqui? Eu já falei com ele. Devido à gripe, o hospital não está aceitando mais pacientes. O hospital é lotado, por favor, voltem para casa. Porra, fuleiragem, ó. Sem pena com a galera. Ué, tava fechado naquela hora, né? Agora tá aberta. Pronto. Eu tô olhando primeiro para me situar aqui nesse hospital.
Thelma Howcroft said she was being watched by vampire hunters. Where are they hiding? I should investigate.
Olha, sobre a mulher. Porra, roubei um morto, velho. Puxa, um negão, ó. Vamos lá. Sua cidade precisa de você. Tá trancada. Vamos lá, indiano.
Good evening. I'm Dr. Reed. Always a pleasure to meet a colleague, sir.
Deixa eu botar pausa. Deixa eu botar pausa aqui. Eu vou fazer logo minha janta. Vou aproveitar. Cheguei. Ui. Demorei um pouquinho que eu tava... Ui. Tava fazendo um negocinho pra mim, pra comer. Fui ver a hora, já quase 9 horas e eu não tinha preparado nada pra mim. Caramba. Comecei uma dieta bem acirrada. Eu tô comendo bem pouquinho. Vai fazer 3 dias. Sufoco.
Supposedly dead.
A colleague? Are you a doctor too?
Not anymore, sir. I used to be Dr. Rakesh Chadana.
Eu disse que é indiana.
I'm just Mr. Chadana, pawnbroker and humble guardian of this morgue.
What do you mean? You used to be a doctor? Was your license revoked?
No, sir. It is just that I like to be precise. I run a little pawn shop while taking care of the dead. But I used to be a real doctor.
O cara preferiu deixar de ser médico pra ser ladrão dos mortos, pô.
A pawnbroker? I expect you get all types of people here.
Yes, sir. All kind of people. For I sell all kind of goods.
What kind of goods?
With the quarantine, it's not always easy to buy things. So I trade. I exchange. Some people sell, some others buy. I like to help.
Gosto de ajudar, entendi. Lucrar em cima dos mortos.
Who comes here to trade with you? It's very unhygienic, even unsafe. Diseases can spread. For the customers, for the hospital.
I'm very cautious, sir. I've been a doctor, remember? And all my clients are good people. In fact, I think I only know good people.
Todo mundo tem segredo aqui, porra.
Do you work here alone?
Yes, very easy work, sir. All I have to do is watch a few bodies. The situation was very different when the main morgue was still open.
Why do you have to watch these bodies?
Because these poor fellows have no names. We keep them in case someone comes looking for the missing. Sadly, very rarely happens.
Porra, fuleiragem.
Do you need medical attention?
I'm feeling all right, doctor. But perhaps it is because I, too, am used to the smell of the dead.
Nível 4. Ele é importante.
Are you afraid or uneasy being surrounded?
Caramba, essa parte vai ser tonelada só de conversa.
These bodies are empty vessels. Flesh left to decay. Poof. No soul anymore. All gone.
An interesting point of view. And quite an exotic one, too. Most people fear, or at least have a respect, for dead flesh.
Sir, as a medic during the war, I learned to face my death and the death of others. It's the pain we have to tame, not death itself.
Olha, disponível, muito bom.
How did you get this job?
After I left the army, I worked as an undertaker down by the docks. A dangerous place with many an unpleasant business there. Milton Hooks helped me get a job here.
Eu já botei isso aqui, você trabalha sozinho aqui. Já nos
Have we
conhecemos.
met before?
I don't think so, sir. Why?
When we first talked, you said you were glad to meet me since I was reported dead.
A funny story, sir. Your sister came here a few nights ago. You were missing, and she was looking for your body. She must be very relieved now.
Vou botar isso aqui de novo.
Do you work here alone?
Yes, very easy work, sir. All I have to do is watch a few bodies. The situation was very different when the main morgue was still open.
Ah, eu esqueci de fazer isso aqui.
Why close the hospital's main morgue?
It was for sanitary reasons after the beginning of the epidemic. Cadavers had to be moved to the nearest mass grave.
Ai, bom, terminei. Não tem mais aqui. Perguntas pessoais. Acredita na vida após a morte?
Since you're not afraid of dying, do you believe in life after death?
Que pergunta ridícula.
I believe we must do all the good we can while alive. For our time is short, and the obstacles are endless.
Do you think you would enjoy immortality as a concept?
I don't think so. Don't mistake me. I love life, and I'd like to live a long life. But everything has to decay, sir. Even goodwill.
Boa vontade não é eterna.
Do you really believe goodwill cannot last?
As I said, sir, everything decays. If I was to never die, goodness, I would be bored or worse. And I like to be helpful, sir.
Quite depressing, wouldn't you say?
Yes, but the good news is, we'll all die before losing our humanity, sir.
So you're ready to die?
No, I am not. I don't fear death, for I won't see it. What troubles me is the pain my death will inflict to those I know.
You're a wise man, Mr. Chidana.
No, Dr. Reed. I am a foolish man. But I like to think otherwise.
Abriu? Não abriu. Vamos negociar.
Please show me what you have to sell.
Of course. It's just trinkets and curios, really. But I'm sure they can be useful.
Vamos lá. Uma fórmula enigmática. Essa fórmula escrita em um pedaço de papel parece bem complexa. Precisa ser esmuchada. Eita. Oi. Problema. Ópio. Com a crescente epidemia e a enorme escassez de drogas, o ópio recentemente voltou a ser usado pelos cidadãos de Lore por suas propriedades sedativas e anestésicas. Carago, me diz que eu vou usar muito esse ópio na galera, velho. Vai ter muito viciado nesse jogo. Codeína. Codeína é um potente anestésico e antitússico frequentemente usado para ativar dor e tosse. Oxê. Dois. Dois, pronto. Tá aberto, tá? Isso é só quando eu matar ele, eu já sei logo que ele vai abrir. Agora não. Ainda tem que ver o hospital todo Aquela burocracia todinha. Já fala. Não fala com esse corno não, ó. Desconhecido. Dorotai, esse aqui. Cadê o cara? Tem um cara aqui. Eu ia matar ele. Ah, tá aqui. Ah, tá. Vamos falar com esse aqui.
Good evening, sir. I'm Dr. Reed. I believe we're going to be colleagues.
Reed? Yes, I've been informed about your arrival. I'm Waverly Ackroyd. Welcome aboard, I suppose.
Does my arrival inconvenience you in some way, Dr. Ackroyd?
Let us just say that I don't particularly share Dr. Swansea's enthusiasm for hiring you. What we need here are reliable professionals, not overrated dabblers.
Oh, yeah. Fodão ele. O que acha da pesquisa, olha, já tem uma parada aberta. E provavelmente ele vai abrir do cara.
If you have a problem with me, Dr. Ackroyd, please feel free to tell me.
Dr. Swansea has imposed your presence on this hospital without asking anyone's advice.
Oh, yeah.
The benefit of his position. But I don't agree with it.
I know we've never met before, but I believe this hospital could use all the help it can get. You will agree with that, I'm sure.
Oh, but I have heard about you, Dr. Reed. Of course, you can't say the same about me, since I have not wasted my time courting the press.
Oxe, mas vê mesmo. A inveja não lhe cai bem, não. Não é motivo para hostilidade. É melhor moderar o tom de voz comigo, não. É melhor isso aqui.
There is no need for such animosity between us. Don't you think the epidemic is already enough to deal with?
That is one point we could agree on. And that is precisely why I want to be sure that you will be of help to this hospital, instead of a burden.
Since your tenure in this hospital is longer than mine, perhaps you can tell me more about this place.
Let's just say I'm tired of the carelessness around me. I have always respected the skills of Dr. Swansea, but over time his enthusiasm has become displaced.
Carelessness? Exactly what are you talking about?
We're here to save lives. The people who trust us are not volunteering for experimentation. They're here to be healed.
I don't intend to run any radical experiments, Doctor. Even if I, as any good practitioner should, express an interest in pushing the boundaries of medical research.
Modern medical methods were created through audacity and ego. But there are rules in our line of work, and they're here to protect our patients.
Oh, yeah. Nova pista disponível. Muito bom.
Tell me, Waverly, what do you think of Dr. Strickland's enthusiasm for his experimental research?
Strickland is playing with his patients' lives for pride and glory. Now that, sir, is unethical.
Are you thinking about something in particular?
Harvey Fiddick needs delicate surgery. I believe we should stick to the usual procedure. But my young colleague obviously disagrees.
Meu irmão 4, o bicho é pica, viu?
Why do you wish to lead this surgery?
I strongly believe that Mr. Fiddick should not be butchered to test an unproven procedure.
Other people may say that's too conservative a point of view.
Conservative? And what are you going to say to Mr. Fiddick if he loses his arm because of the operation? Because that's what's going to happen if the surgery is a failure.
É verdade, é verdade, é verdade. Agora eu compreendo.
And are you not afraid that your rivalry with Strickland may be blinding you?
Rivalry? I guess you could call it that. But I will never be childish enough to let my personal feelings affect my judgment.
Porra, duas pistas, mas...
I don't know what you've heard about me, but I have already proved my value as a practitioner.
I don't question your skills, Dr. Reed, but your motive. Is it money, fame, or are you truly dedicated?
And what exactly is that supposed to mean?
I served in the war just like you. But unlike you, I did not use the wounded to play the modern sorcerer.
Be careful what you insinuate, Dr. Ackroyd.
I only want you to admit you used those men to improve your theories.
I don't see any reason why I should justify my actions to you.
That's true, Dr. Reed. The only judge has to be yourself. The question is, are you judging yourself hard enough?
Porra, o bicho só quer ser o rola, velho.
It seems you have bad
Esse jogo
memories
aqui
of
tem
your
bastante conversação. Eu
I
quero saber se
refuse
vai
to
ter a
see
briga
this
mesmo.
industrial slaughter as scientific progress. War only reveals the worst in men.
We can at least agree on something, Dr. Ackroyd.
Pronto, eu acho que acabei aqui com ele. É, acabei.
Thank you for your time. We'll talk later.
Eu vou por aqui agora. Quem é essa? Pipa! Vou falar com ela.
Good evening, nurse.
Good evening,
Tá cobrando
Doctor.
os outros.
I don't think we've been introduced yet. My name is Pippa Hawkins.
And I'm Dr. Jonathan Reed. Dr. Swansea has recently offered me a position in this hospital.
Well, it's a euphemism that your help will be appreciated, Doctor.
How would you describe the situation at the Pembroke Hospital?
It's serious. The flu is wreaking havoc amongst the staff and patients. We are running out of everything.
Nurse Hawkins, the Spanish flu won't last forever. Even the Black Plague didn't kill everyone.
I wish I could believe you. But what if this epidemic was worse? What if in the end, nobody was spared?
You must get a hold of
Deixa eu
yourself.
ver aqui a hora.
Sorry, I'm exhausted.
É, praticamente
No
uma
one
hora
has
e
any
meia
idea
só
when
de
this epidemic will
conversação.
be over.
Espero que valha a pena, viu?
How long have you been a
Porque
nurse?
Or long
tem
enough to
negócio de
see that the
investigação,
epidemic
essas
is
coisas, o cara
winning.
tem que conversar mesmo. E
And
eu tenho
no
que ler
matter
tudinho pra
how
entender.
qualified you are, don't tell me you'll change that.
Você ficará surpreso, você tem razão. Mude sua atitude, você ficará
You'd be
surpreso.
surprised what dedication can achieve, Nurse Hawkins. In medicine, sometimes we're just a test result away from a miracle.
Sorry, Doctor. I don't want to sound bitter, but I'm just too tired to give a pep talk like Nurse Brannigan.
Tem mais enfermeira, tem Brannigan.
How is the Pembroke staff coping with the epidemic?
Well, not well. Milton, the ambulance driver, is even more grumpy than usual, especially concerning doctors.
Why is Milton grumpy on a daily basis? Is it just an act?
Milton's not the kind of man who's bothered about a bad reputation, whether he deserved it or not.
Milton.
Why does Milton dislike doctors?
I don't know. Just ask him. But be warned, Milton is not the chatty type.
Beleza, já falou mal do cara, é um falando mal do outro.
Do you need medical help yourself, nurse?
I'm fine, really. I just need to sleep.
How is the Pembroke staff?
Well, not well.
Porra, tá fechado, beleza. Mas eu tive uma pista dessa mulher, meu irmão. Como é que não Não tá aberto. Não tá massa.
Goodbye, Nurse Hawkins.
Oxê, que porra é essa ali? Já vou falar com o negão aí. Eu já falei com esse cara é gente fina. Cadê o negão, velho? Oxe, o negão sumiu, meu irmão. Tem muita gente por falar, velho.
I'm Dr. Jonathan Reed.
Missãozinha chata essa, viu?
Dr. Swansea has already told us about you, sir. I'm Nurse Gwyneth Brannigan. Welcome to the Pembroke Hospital.
Did he really? It's a good thing I wasn't hoping to keep a low profile.
All members of staff have already read about your new blood transfusion technique. Dr. Swansea made sure of that.
I see. Well, I'm a little surprised. But I suppose I'll just have to deal with this unexpected notoriety.
You must know, blood transfusions are Dr. Swansea's primary subject of research. He is convinced it is the future.
How are things here?
Not good, to say the least. We're struggling against an invisible enemy, more lethal than any bullet from a gun. It's hard, Doctor.
Do you think this hospital can survive the epidemic?
We are all volunteers here, and we're trying to hold fast, but how do we beat an invisible killer? Some nurses have already resigned.
An invisible enemy? Quite a poetic term for a disease, especially from a nurse.
Sorry, Doctor.
A voz desse cara é bem
These last few
famosa.
weeks have been exhausting. We could all do with a good night's sleep.
Caramba, eu tô manjando a voz do cara. Meu Deus do céu.
I'm not familiar with all the staff yet. Perhaps you could help me.
Brilliant professionals, most of them. Dr. Swansea has a gift for recruiting talent.
Most of you. Is there a problem I should know about, nurse?
It would be inappropriate for me to speak ill of a colleague.
Is there anyone that stands out?
Well, I have never met someone as dedicated as Dr. Tippets. He should be a standard for us all here. If only he were younger.
Why should his age be a problem?
I guess it's fair to say he's always pushing himself to the limits. He just doesn't know when to stop and get some rest.
Ah, aquele coroa.
Nurse Brannigan, if you do know something, please tell me. Anything you say will be held in confidence.
No. I may disagree with some conduct, but in the end, everybody is doing their best.
Certo, ela ficou calada. Espera aí, 5. Pessoal. Tive tem grande consideração por você. Olha aí, ó. Vou falar aqui, ó.
Why does Dr. Tippets claim you're the main reason he keeps working, despite his fatigue?
If it wasn't for him, I probably would have left the Pembroke years ago.
Dr. Tippets does not think of you as just a nurse anymore, does he?
If you're suggesting he's not taking my gender into consideration when it comes to medical practice and knowledge, I really hope he doesn't.
Se gostam. Tá massa.
Do you require medical assistance, nurse?
Thank you for your concern, but I'm fine.
Goodbye, nurse. Call me if you need assistance.
Tá, deixa eu falar com o tourão ali. Eu falei pra mulher salvar o cara e nada, meu irmão. O cara ainda tá aqui, meu Deus do céu. Deixa pra lá, não tenho o que falar dele com ele não. Eu só sei que ele é importante pra alguma coisa. Eu só sei que ele deu uma facada no cara e jogou o cara no mar. Dependesse de mim, mesmo eu matava ele se não fosse a história. O negão sumiu, velho. Vamos lá. Esse lado de cá. Essa é a doida, já falei com ela. É, já falei com ela. Vamos lá.
Good evening, sir.
Ou subir, né? Pro
Unless
primeiro
you're
andar.
here to fix my face. No. I don't think you can help me.
I'm Dr. Reed. I've recently taken the position of head surgeon here. War injuries, am I right?
You guessed right, Doctor. German shell took my pretty little mug right off. But they still call me Thomas Elwood.
How is your stay with us, Mr. Elwood?
Oh, it's bliss. I just escaped death in the trenches to be surrounded again by the moans of the dying.
Can I ask you precisely why you're a patient here?
It's the pain, sir. The drugs don't work. It just hurts under the scars, if you get my drift.
Who is treating you? Is someone in particular looking after your case?
Nobody since the old and tired doctor spoke to me. Started to think I was forgotten about. Wouldn't blame you.
You don't seem worried by that.
My face hurts so much more when I smile or cry. I've learned it's easier not to speak. But be assured I'm smiling inside.
Can I do anything for your pain?
Nurses gave me a bunch of pills. No effect. Told you. It's like the flames are under my skin, burning away.
Olha, dá pra dar uma... Dá pra matar ele, né? Mas deve ser importante, ó. Tem uma pista. Tem no pista, velho. Eu não vou... Você serviu por muito tempo.
Where were you stationed, sir? Did you serve for long?
I really don't want to talk about all this shit.
No offense. I was pushing too much. I served in France myself. I just wanted to know what happened to you.
You were an officer, weren't you? Then I doubt we fought the same war, sir. No offense.
How close are you to Miss Horcroft? Are you aware that she thinks she is a vampire?
To wait for her next nibble is the best reason to stay here. Every time she approaches my bed, she treats me like something tasty. A normal person.
Aren't you afraid? She may hurt you if the game goes too far.
She's quite harmless, I can assure you. Her head's broken inside is all. While I'm busted on the outside. But she's still beautiful. Living proof that there's hope for me.
Thomas Wood, nova pista.
So do you let her bite you? You know that's not sanitary.
And why not? She's only supping a few drops of me blood. And the pain, it's real for once.
She could decide to bite less willing patients.
Then it's another good reason for me to stay here, Doctor.
You do realize she's mentally disturbed. It's called the Cotard syndrome. She truly believes she's a vampire.
In her madness, she never refers to my scars. And frankly, if I could, I'd join her world. It seems much more fun than the real one.
O cara tá caidaço na nega, velho. Falta só uma. Abriu aqui, eu acho. Abriu nada. Tá de boa.
Goodbye for now, Mr. Elwood.
Eita.
On every street corner.
Faltou isso
Good
aqui.
evening. Soldier, do you need assistance?
I'm fine. Just do something for this pain, will you? That's all I'm asking.
Goodbye for now, Mr. L.
You disgust on every street corner.
O padre, ó.
I cannot enter.
Tá fechado. Dale, padre. Vamos
Good
conversar
evening, Mr.
agora.
Hampton. How do you feel?
Dr. Reed, is it?
Tá falando comigo, é?
Sir, I must apologize for my behavior.
What do you mean?
I was not myself
Quem
in
morreu?
the factory. Fear and exhaustion make me say awful things to you, I'm afraid.
Tá
You
cheirando a
remained
verde?
perfectly nice and polite. A little delirious,
Ah,
perhaps.
encheu só uma.
But who
Tá.
wouldn't be after enduring an abduction?
Thank you, Doctor. That's a relief. Now all I need to do is rest and return to my flock.
Have you made friends since you arrived?
Not really, but I recognize Miss Harriet Jones. I knew her when she lived by the docks. That poor woman had such a miserable life.
You never came to see her here at Pembroke. Receiving visits when sick can be an important part of the healing process, you know. We're not just bodies.
You're preaching to the converted now, Doctor. To be truly honest, I thought she was dead. She left the docks many months ago.
What do you do for a living, Mr. Hampton?
Eu acho que já tá acabando. Ele
I
falou
can't
tudo
help
que eu
but
falei.
notice the cross around your neck.
I manage a night asylum for the poor and homeless of the docks, and I try to guide the lost and hesitant on the right path to our Lord.
Why didn't you use your cross against William Bishop? To repel him somehow?
That's a very strange question, Doctor. A cross is no magical token, if that's what you were trying to say. Not mine, anyway.
É porque o do outro fez efeito. É.
Are you a priest, Mr. Hampton? A deacon, maybe?
Not at all, Doctor. I'm just a man of faith willing to preach the good word.
How do you feel, Mr. Hampton? Medically speaking, I mean.
I feel exhausted. Beyond exhaustion, actually. William drank so much of my blood in his madness. I feel empty.
You're in good hands here. Dr. Swansea is well versed in blood transfusion, and I'm sure he'll take the best care of you.
Thank you, sir. I believe all I need is rest. And then I can go back to the people who need me.
Vou perguntar sobre ele.
Do you know Tom Watts, the bartender from the Turtle? I met him before I found you in the canning factory.
Tom? Yes, of course. Always the helping hand, good old Tom. Without men like him, corruption and despair would have wiped out the East End long ago.
Desespero, corrupção.
People are still in despair.
How could it be otherwise? The authorities have left us all to rot in this contagious nightmare. No drugs,
Agora a única
no
coisa que eu tô
advice.
achando interessante nesse jogo é a questão, os rostos
It's a
são
damn
diferentes.
shame.
Who should I avoid in this part of town, then? Any particularly evil figures?
Not really. Most men and women are just doing their best. And it's not my habit to speak ill of people I know, Doctor.
How did you end up in William Bishop's den?
I had received alarming news about his recent behavior. I went to his place, and he refused to let me go.
Why did he abduct you?
William was an alcoholic. His addiction suddenly changed to blood. I don't know why. Just like a patient I met here. This Miss Hawcroft.
You dared to enter this awful place alone. You're a hero, Mr. Hampton. Or a fool.
I'm just a man trying to help his friends, Dr. Reed. William Bishop was a conflicted soul, searching for light.
Era doido.
What is the general situation in the East End docks?
The situation has always been tough, with a lot of tensions between the gangs and the dockers' trade union. The wet boot boys are very nervous since they lost their leader.
Who leads the gang now?
Since Clay Cox went missing, it's his wife Edwina who runs the show, with the assistance of her minion, Booth Digby.
Has the gang been threatening you?
Ah, no. I've had this nickname for so long, you know, the sad saint of the East End. No one dares to bug a saint, not even criminals.
Acho que acabou.
Goodbye, Mr. Hampton. We'll talk again later.
Damn. The pain. It's here again. Fear and disgust on every street corner. The daily routine.
Pronto. Tava respondendo aqui umas mensagens. Eu vou lá pra cima, lá vai a mulher olhando pra parede, meu Deus. Eu venho aqui, vim. É. Não tem nada aqui não. É depois daqui, né? Tá fechado.
Not now. Please come back later.
Olha. Serra usada. 75 de dano. $58, 65, tacape usada. $65, 20, 15. $99 de dano, né? Que delícia. Vai gastar 30 de vigor. Eu tô com bastante coisa. Prontuário de Railroad. Paciente Thomas Wellwood, sexo masculino, 28 anos, médico responsável, Dr. Tipes, estado em recuperação, data de da admissão 16 de setembro, data de liberação a ser definida. Observação: o rosto do paciente sofreu queimaduras graves e foi desfigurado por uma bomba durante a guerra. Mesmo com o uso de sedativos fortes, ele afirma frequentemente sentir as dores das feridas, como se as chamas ainda queimassem sob a pele. Segundo o que diz, exames dos tecidos cicatrizados não indicam traços de inflamação, infecção ou inchaço. As cicatrizes são limpas. Se é este um caso de dano persistente aos nervos, o paciente está sempre se culpando pela própria desfiguração. Poderia ser um caso de culpa de sobrevivente. Dores fantasma manifestando-se como punição por não morrer com seus companheiros. Massa. Já chama a parada do cara. Depois rolar. Fechado, aberto.
This must be the place. It's definitely away from prying eyes. Relegated to the shadows. A kingdom of my own. At least I won't be sleeping in a coffin.
Essa área aqui é dele, tá massa. Nesse segundo andar, isso aqui é o primeiro andar. Vamos ver o sangue, né? É aqui ali, ó. Opa.
The flower's dying. It needs water.
Tá, como é que eu pego água, cara? Aqui. Não sei como eu pego água. Artigo sobre Econs.
The flower's dying. It needs water.
Como é que eu pego água pra isso aqui? Tá, isso é graxa. Não tenho água. Álcool. Devagar, devagar. Ei. Virou soro. Recupera instantaneamente 30 pontos de vida, depois mais 150 pontos em 15 segundos. Interessante. Acho que eu dei um soninho aqui. Ah tá, tem que aumentar aqui primeiro. Ah, falta. Ainda não tenho.
William Bishop's blood is much more unstable than human blood and shows extensive mutation. But this is not what happened to me. I must keep on searching. The sun is about to rise. I can feel it. I'll continue tomorrow night. I have so much time now.
Pode dormir agora? Leve-me para um hospital, descanso na cama até a próxima noite. Meia-noite no jardim do bem e do mal. Entra no jardim do quintal. Tem outra missão, velho. Deixa eu primeiro ver o mapa. Comerciante, o cara. Esconderijo. Meu jardim. Olha. Meu esconderijo. Que eu achei. Não tem o da mulher, né? Que ele viu. Deixa eu fazer isso aqui. Vou dormir. 700 e pouco. Defensivas. Eu acho que eu não preciso ainda não. Golpes absorvidos. Eu acho que eu não preciso ainda disso. Essa mordida. Não. 300. Aumenta. Poxa. Esse aqui é melhor do que o outro que eu tava vendo ali. Interessante, velho. 20 de sangue. Capaz de 105%. Função corporal, aumento de vida. Ah, tá. Cara, isso é muito difícil, velho, de escolher, pô. É 600. Oxe, eu tô com 700, pô. Nível 6. Ah, tá. Tá bom. Agora, eu vou usar isso aqui, que é mordida também, né? Nível 5. Esse aqui também. Opa. Desbloqueio. Não desbloqueou, né? Pronto. Eu pensava que esse aqui era a mesma coisa que aquele de baixo. Aumenta a absorção de sangue ao usar a mordida em combate. Não é aqui não? Ó, parece a mesma coisa. Aumenta sua regeneração de vida ao usar a mordida em combate. Ah, tá bom, entendi agora. Vamos confirmar.
If I'm to stay here until my research is complete, I'd better learn to hide my true nature from the mortals. But what about my thirst for blood?
Judas, turno da noite. Atenda a porta. Analisei o sangue do William Bishop, mas o resultado é apenas parcial. A amostra de sangue estava muito mais instável do que o sangue humano e continha diversas mutações. Corrigindo. Mas não é o que aconteceu comigo. Tenho de continuar pesquisando. Preciso reunir mais evidências do que está acontecendo. O tempo pode estar a meu favor, mas não a favor de Londres. A epidemia está matando milhares de pessoas e a cidade está à beira de um colapso. Começo a acreditar que tudo isso possa estar conectado de alguma forma, mas não vejo nenhum padrão ou explicação plausível no momento. Por enquanto, tenho de fazer o papel de médico e dar o meu melhor para ajudar quem precisa de mim enquanto continuo minha busca. Porra, eu quero...
The flower's dying. It needs water.
Dorothy. Bora, Dorothy. Tá tirando onda.
Hurry now, Doctor. It's freezing here.
Pera aí, bora.
It's locked, all right.
Trancado.
I not want to make wait, Doctor. I've patients to attend.
Yes, Nurse Crane? How can I help you?
I'm so sorry. I know Dr. Swansea wanted you to rest, but we have somewhat of a crisis.
A crisis, you say?
Our supply of antiseptics is nearly depleted. I was hoping there was another box up here, but...
Porra, mulher.
What type of hospital are you running? No antiseptics?
You have been away too long, Doctor. With the war and now this epidemic, supplies have been running scarce for months now.
I may have a solution. In France, during the war, drugs shortage was a daily problem, and we had to use our wits to overcome the shortages.
However do you mean?
If combined correctly, certain household chemical products can be used in a pinch instead. Now, where's the hospital storeroom?
The storeroom? Fat chance. This is the Pembroke, and space is luxury we don't have. Everything used to be stored in the old morgue.
Perhaps I should look there first. Where is this morgue?
It's the large building behind the hospital. You'll need to go in the back door because it's been sealed off for sanitary reasons. Take this key. It opens a small back entrance at the end of a narrow street.
The abandoned morgue behind the hospital. A small door at the end of a narrow street. On my way then. Thank you, nurse.
Yes, Doctor?
Why then do you always work the nights? Don't you ever sleep?
At the Pembroke, we're always hands on deck.
Lack of sleep and the medical profession always ends in disaster. I've witnessed many a colleague succumb to stimulants to fight exhaustion. Drugs were as deadly as bullets in the trenches.
London's trenches start here at Pembroke Hospital. We are on the front line, make no mistake.
Your dedication to the Pembroke does you credit, Nurse Crane, but when do you sleep?
We staff get our sleep when we can, Doctor. Nursing is a vocation, not the labor of a journeyman.
Porra, eu queria que isso fosse, os enfermeiros vissem isso que tu falou, velho.
Please, could you point me in the direction of the morgue again?
It's the large boarded-up building behind the hospital. You can't miss it. The key I gave you will open the small back door to it.
Exactly how bad is the supply situation here at Pembroke?
It really depends. Dr. Swansea deftly works his society contacts for monies, but with the quarantine, well, we're in God's hands.
Tá, já falei com ela.
That's all for now, Nurse Crane, thank you.
Vamos ver se já tem alguma coisa aqui. Não tem mais nada que eu peguei.
Not now.
Esse bicho nunca vai me atender desse jeito. Deixa eu subir só pra ter uma ideia. Oxi. Fechada. Também fechada. Massa. Vamos descer então. Provavelmente.
Good evening, Mr. Elwood.
Evening.
Não abriu. Abriu.
Why do you feel responsible for the injury, Thomas? What really happened?
I wasn't disfigured by any German shells. It happened during my leave. It was an accident.
Porque tu mentiu, ceboso.
Why lie about it?
Come on. It's one thing to come back disfigured by the Germans, and it's another to get injured in an accident that could have happened to anybody.
Você não pode se esconder para
You know you
sempre.
can't hide forever. One day you'll have to face your loved ones. Until that day, you have no chance of real recovery.
My friends all died in the trenches. It's shameful enough to be alive for these stupid scars. I don't want my children to see me like this.
Nova pista.
Tell me what really happened then.
I went with a whore in Rouen. Dead drunk I was. The hotel was a shithole. There was a fire that night.
Did you stop the fire? Were you trying to avoid going back to the front? That's not uncommon, you know.
No. It's just that I was asleep when the flames reached the room. The girl was long gone. Bitch never woke me up. Left me to burn.
Se lascou.
You told me before you don't want your children to see you like this. Do you have any other family?
My sister Agatha has raised me nippers since their mother died. Don't want them to look at me like this.
How could children despise their father injured in the war?
What do you think? They saw me once. My poor angels left the room crying. They keep on having nightmares every week, my sister told me.
Your sister's not a child.
Eu o primeiro que eu vou matar.
I'm sure she has nothing but respect for a wounded soldier, and you are her brother.
You don't know my sister Agatha. She may be young, but she's all discipline and morality. If she ever found out what really happened...
She doesn't have to know.
She's a sly one, my sister. One day she'll find out the truth and knock 7 bells out of me. Nah. I'm better off here.
Time has lost its effect on me, but the suffering continues. So many deaths. A lot of my own.
So this is how it ends. Farewell, my life, you betrayed me, God.
Foda-se que o distrito vai sofrer as consequências. Mas meu Deus. Nível 1 de ameaça tá suave. $1.200, que delícia. Eu tô com a chave, eu sei que é aqui. Eu não vi mais um negão, velho. Eu quero falar com ele.
It's locked.
Oxe, aonde, meu Deus, que eu tenho que ir? Eu tô no caminho errado. Jardim.
Scowl voices in the garden. I should investigate. If they were to find somebody.
Ih, alguém tá gritando. Escuro. Oxe, é um vampiro, ó. Eita! Ai, porra! Toma, corno, quase que me mata. Nem o boss me tirou tanto dano como esse daí. Amostra de sangue robusto. Ai, ai. Eu escutei gritos. Finalmente uma ação no jogo, demorou. Eu acho que eu não tô no caminho certo, né? Olha. Eita, porra. Ai, ai, ai. Me solta, porra. Eita. Eu matei já? Eu matei os três, ó. Que bom. Pelo menos já tô limpando a área, finalmente a ação. Mataram alguém aqui, ó. Oxê, oh, é um negão, porra. O negão pega pipa, ó. Pipa Walkins. Uma fotografia de um casal feliz com algumas palavras escritas no verso. Pipa, Milton e Pipa para sempre.
So, Mr. Hooks and Nurse Hawkins are an item. Those two have hidden their affections well.
Dá, né? Ela vende propina pra galera. É. Dá certinho com o ladrão. Espera aí, eu tô no caminho, né? Eu tô no caminho. E aí, que parada é essa aqui? Ah, o do jardim. Deixa eu fazer logo esse. Tá, isso amanhã. Eu acho que é isso aqui. Será que é isso aqui? Não parece ser. Já tô longe do jardim. Não é aqui não. Vamos voltar. Nunca mais vi aquela a parada do X, não foi? Olha o grito. É por aqui mesmo, então. Tô perto. Olha. Porra, o que eu vou fazer aqui, velho? Não aqui. Eu escutei alguém falando. Bem, são todos mentirosos ladrões. Eu acho que não é aqui ainda. Não é aqui. Vamos lá. Eu abri aqui. Não, é aqui. É dentro, né? Ah, eu acho que foi o cara que eu matei, mas foda-se. Devolva a carteira para o dono dela. Ah, tá, entendi. É eu entregar pro negão. Ele aqui.
Good evening, Milton.
Good evening, Doctor. Still trying to save lives?
Encontrei sua
I have
carteira.
some good news, Milton.
What? The epidemic's over?
I retrieved your wallet with all the money and a certain picture.
Well, yeah, Pippa Hawkins is my girl. So what? Is it the difference of skin colour that bothers you?
Not at all.
Good. Please, take this money anyway. To remind you to keep your mouth shut. Not everybody is as broad-minded as you, Dr. Reed.
Tu vai morrer, negão. Moral. Só não te mato porque... Só não te mato porque tu vende as paradas.
Why do you have such a mediocre reputation among your colleagues, Milton?
Fuck them. Nobody knows the horrors I've seen since working here. This city was sick long before the epidemic, Dr. Reed.
I know it's a difficult task, but correct me if I'm wrong. Is this not the job you are paid to do?
I've seen babies left to die while their brothers were properly fed. Underage girls and boys sold to all manner of perverts.
I'm sorry, I don't know what to say.
Yeah, exactly. We lack words. So excuse me if I don't look on the bright side of life.
Negão é rabugento pra caramba, velho. Dois, vai faltar 3.
What's going on between you and Nurse Hawkins?
Pippa's tired. Tired of all this shit. Tired of all those corpses piling up. She's as depressed as I am.
During the war, I witnessed a few couples just like you come together in difficult circumstances. It can be very damaging.
Maybe you're right. But we support each other. And that's all that matters.
You do realize you could both get fired. Hospital staff are not meant to have intimate relationships with one another.
Come on, Dr. Reed. Do you know how many rules are broken in this hospital every day just to keep it running? There's nothing wrong with what we're doing.
Goodbye, Milton.
Investigação bem sucedida, pronto. Terminou a investigação, graças a Deus. Ele lavrando. Falta mais um. Falta um. Falta 3. Falta... Já achei 2 dela, pipa rápida. Vamos lá.
I wish I could be sick again. Feel my blood boil with the fever.
A giant morgue disguised as a hospital. That's Pembroke nowadays.
Opa, Pipa, cheguei.
Good evening, Nurse Hawkins.
Good evening, Dr. Reed.
Oxe, nada, meu irmão. Essa pipa é sangue nos olhos. Aí, aqui, ó.
Pepper, I know you're very close to Milton Hooks.
Yes. Milton Hooks is my man. If you want to report me for that, just feel free, Doctor.
I have no intention of reporting you,
Isso que é amor, viu?
but are you aware of the risks?
The rules say I won't be allowed to work as a nurse anymore. But here at the Pembroke, we break rules all the time.
Is he worth the risk?
Hey, I'm no perfect woman, and Milton is not the finest bloke. But we do our best to get by. That's all any of us can hope for nowadays.
É verdade. Requer não. Ainda falta
Goodbye, Nurse Hawkins.
muito. Eu vou sair matando todo mundo aqui do hospital sem pena. Ninguém presta, meu irmão. Deixa eu ver. Ó, ninguém viu o corpo do cara. O cara aí vai entrar em... Meu Deus. Caramba, tô sem sangue agora que eu percebi. Ó, o necrotélia ali. Uma parte aberta. Quarentena. Não se aproxime desta área porque, por ordem da Secretaria de Saúde Oficial Sanitária. Me deu vontade de querer saber, né? Quarentena, doença contagiosa. Isso aí é onde tem os vampiros.